All right, guys, welcome to the Tactical Edge, episode 6. I'm Patrick. Got Sean and Doc here with us today. We're going to talk about some different things, but if you'll notice, we're in a little different space. You might have seen a video or two by now that have one or all of us in those new videos. So we've got a new space. We didn't do away with the old space, but we're going to be kind of maybe doing either one. So let us know kind of what you think about what you see and the space here. So
I'm going to tell you what I think of the new space.
What you think?
This space was confirmation that I married well. Because when my wife walked in when we were getting ready to shoot the videos today, and she looked around and saw everything, she looked at me and said, "We need one of these." And I knew then it was confirmed over and over again, but it was confirmation once again today that I married well.
So same thing here, because, you know, when I wanted to do this, we wanted to do it, you know, for the space and all, but my wife was excited too that what she saw too. So it was the same reaction when she saw it. So I love it too.
Yep.
That's awesome. Hey guys, if you see any of the guns on the wall, you have a question about it, let us know. Excuse me. We would love to show these guns off. And yeah, tell us what your favorite one is.
And got Mr. Wick back there too. I guess you can see him in the background. No, Mr. Wick's on the wall. Sorry, you can't see him. So
The Superman.
yeah, so we're going to talk about SHOT Show today, and that's going to be part our entry part here is SHOT Show, what we're going to do in 2025 at SHOT Show, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about NIJ and the NIJ standards. Doc's going to ask us some questions on that, and we're going to get into that a little bit. So welcome, sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. We're going to get into today talking a little bit about SHOT Show. I know you're excited about that. We're coming up on it. As this is released, we're going to be there. And we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to us and kind of what's going to be there. And let's get into that.
Yeah, well, so you said they might be excited about it. Well, so if they have never heard of it, what exactly is SHOT Show?
So what is SHOT Show? SHOT Show is a culmination of all the companies in the Second Amendment community that come together to show all their new and improved items that they have. Maybe it's gun makers or body armor guys or whatever it might be.
Yeah, there's stuff all over the place, you know, all the way from Glock showing off their new guns to Holosun showing off some new red dots, or Agilite showing off their newest gear coming out. All over the place. There's even manufacturers there showing off steel targets and stuff. So it's just a culmination of the whole industry coming together and showing off everything new and people talking and making things better in the industry.
And it is a once a year venue. It is at the Caesars and Venetian at in Las Vegas, and it is once a year. It's at the end of January, and we always go. Over the past 3 years, we've gone every year to talk and see what the latest things are, and to talk to the people that we need to talk to for the business that we're in.
Yeah. So like last year, one of our main connections, well, actually 2 years ago, one of our main connections was Agilite, right? So
2 years ago.
That's how we discovered Agilite. We wouldn't even be an Agilite dealer if it weren't for SHOT Show.
Right.
And so, you know, just making connections like that is what SHOT Show is really about. And, you know, a lot of people, the whole point of it is to exhibit and have your own booth set up. But, you know, that is a costly thing to do. And so people like us, for right now, we're going there to talk to people who have booths set up and to make relationships with them. And then in hopes of one day setting up our own booth at SHOT Show.
Right. So relationships and synergy is what it's about for us. With us being in the body armor industry and manufacturing, we look to find those connections of people that make the products that go into our product. And so when we find those people, we make those connections, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of an honor to be there too. For one, it is exclusive.
That is correct.
Right? It's not open to the public. This is an industry trade show, and the industry trade group is NSSF, the National Shooting Sports Foundation.
Yep.
So you have to be a member of NSSF, or you have to be a member of the firearms industry in support, like accessories, body armor. It has to be something firearms industry related, or media that is exclusive to or makes content and delivers content to something shooting sports related. So NSSF is a great organization. They are advocates of the Second Amendment lifestyle and Second Amendment community. Promoting shooting sports, where a lot of times the gun community might get a good rap. The people behind the scenes working in Congress, working with legislators, trying to protect our rights, but also promote shooting sports fundamentals and shooting sports safety in shooting sports activities. That's a large part of what NSSF does. So as you're talking about the relationships and getting together, it's all about building and solidifying that community. And the cool toys. I mean, cool toys always come out of SHOT Show every year.
Right. That's the cool thing. And then they have the range day.
Yep.
They do range day early when they're going out and shooting some of the new weapons, and you can check those things out. So that's an opportunity to do there. Of course, a lot of the vendors have the parties that they get together, in the evening and things like that, and hang out and talk. But yeah, it's just for us a relational thing to where we meet people and solidify those relationships. But you're right, NSSF is very important to our industry, and we support them by, of course, being members. So, yeah.
What's like your most anticipated place to check out at SHOT Show this year?
Well, for us, I would have to say Agilite. I have to say that
Agilite.
Because, I mean, honestly, that's, they're just a great company. It's who we deal with the most. Beyond what we do as body armor. We're a distributor for them, so we're really excited for the new things that are coming up. We're going to get some unveiling there from Agilite on some of the newer things coming in 2025. So I'm excited about that, and meeting some of the guys, Lev and Reed and Ellie and Boaz and some of the other guys there. So
I think they've had an unfair advantage over the last year. It's unfortunate, but it's true. They've had an unfair advantage. If you think when America started withdrawing from Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and kind of drawing down the American military industrial complex, a lot of the vendors and suppliers to the U.S. government, wartime is a great time to advance technology in this industry. So a lot of the contributors to that domestically, they haven't had a lot of real world Q&A time or R&D time, where Agilite, unfortunately, they have in Israel, but they've taken advantage of it. And then they've taken that situation, and from that has come, I think, the next generation of really good tactical equipment. So I think one way to go for the Agilite team, and two, it's great to see the innovation coming out of it.
Yeah, 100%. And stay tuned for our YouTube channel. We're going to be filming stuff at SHOT Show. We'll probably do a couple interviews at the Agilite booth, and probably some other booths as well, showing off some of the new products. So just stay tuned for those videos.
The other thing that I'm looking forward to as well, Sean, you ask, is going to be our suppliers for our materials that go into what we do. We get a chance to meet some of those people and touch base on some of the newer. We have the NIJ 010107 that came out this year. We'll talk a little bit more about that in another segment on this podcast. But we're going to be talking to those guys about the innovation of the materials and how they're going together, the fabrics and how they're all going together to be able to pass the 010107 NIJ standard. So that's going to be exciting too, to talk to some of those guys that are in that industry of the materials that we purchase.
Yeah, that's the real nerdy side of body armor.
That's true.
I mean, it's not just a plate or a panel that you throw in a vest. There's a lot of intricate work that goes into what stops that bullet, and a lot of different layers of different materials, and it has to be covered properly, it has to be waterproof. There's so much that goes into making one armor panel that a lot of people don't think about. And that's the great thing about SHOT Shows, to talk to people who are, making these materials and pushing the boundaries of what is possible in that.
You got me excited.
Oh,
As
yeah,
a
awesome.
as a former warrior, as an end user, someone who spent a couple years plus in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan, I've been an end user of these products.
Yeah.
And as a self-proclaimed nerd, I am always curious about how they come up with this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm really interested to learn about those standards and how they come up with it. And
it is very cool. I don't know, we're segueing
We'll segue
into the NIJ 010107. It was 06 for a long time. The '07 National Institute of Justice, which is NIJ, they had the '06 for a long time. The '07 was out there, but it had not been adopted for a long time. They finally adopted it mid-year this year, about in July. And so it's been interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on with the testing. They haven't started testing yet.
oh wow.
Even though they passed the '07, the testing hasn't begun. And so, FYI, if you see anybody out there telling you they've got '07
Compliant.
certified, that is not true because there's not been testing from the NIJ to certify that armor.
You can still have compliant.
That is correct.
Stuff. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool about what we're doing right now.
Okay.
And that's sort of what we wanted to talk about a little bit.
So if I understand it right, the National Institute of Justice, these NIJ standards that you're talking about, this is the certification that body armor has to go to be deemed stoppable for the threat at the various levels for the 3A, and it has to achieve these standards before law enforcement departments, Department of Defense can adopt this and can purchase that. Is that what this does?
Yes, that's basically correct. You got the different levels of protection. So you have 2A and 2, which we really don't deal with at all. That's low end.
Like BB gun?
Yeah, it's a little bit better than that, but
Okay.
we get into the 3A is where we start. 3A is up to 44 Magnum.
Mhm.
That's 44 Magnum protection. It's also tested with 9mm, but so that's 3A. Then the next one is level 3, and then you go up to level 4. Now, it depends on how much we want to get into this and talk about it. I can dive deep if we want to. If we want to dive deep, I
Let's
can tell
take
you a little bit more.
deep dive and see what we get into.
So with the National Institute of Justice 010106, that's the paragraph.
Okay.
Okay. They talk about the standards. With 010106, it was always 2A2, 3A3, and 4. 4 being the highest, 30-06 round, black tip, that's your protection. So when people talk about, hey, I got a level 4 plate, a level 4, hey, you got level 4s. You're throwing that out, right?
Yep.
That's your highest level of protection with National Institute of Justice testing. Okay. Now, what they've done in 010107 is they've redefined the numbers.
Okay.
So it's now HG1, HG2, handgun,
Okay.
handgun 1, handgun 2, RF1, RF2, RF3, rifle. Rifle 1, Rifle 2, Rifle 3. So the HG1 took the place of 2A and 2, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's right. That the HG1, again, I don't really concentrate on that 2A and 2,
Right.
but I believe that's correct. HG1. Then HG2 takes you to the 3A, which is going to be up to the 44 Magnum.
Mhm.
And then the RF1 is going to be your level 3. Then RF2 is going to be 3 plus, which there was not any designation for 3 plus previously.
Okay.
That was sort of one of the things that they talked about, for the past years. Everybody, all manufacturers, all these body armor manufacturers have a 3 plus plate. And it can be 3 plus is such a wide range of ballistics.
Right.
Because level 3 is a 308, 6 shots of a 308. Level 4 is 1 shot of a 30-06 black tip. Well, there's a lot in between those calibers, especially now. You throw out calibers now. When I go to gun shows and people throw out calibers, I've never
6.8 Creedmoor and
Well, yeah, 6'5", but
6'5",
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, there probably is a 6'8" something out
It
there.
probably
Yeah.
is.
There is. I'm serious. I mean, there's 8.6 now. There's so much out there. I mean, you can't even name all of them. But so what they tried to do was say, okay, RF1 is your 308. Now RF2 now they define as the M855, which is your green tip, which is the 5.56, light armor penetrator, right? So that's your special threat,
Yep.
and that's the RF2. The RF3 then now takes you level 4, and level 4 is going to be, again, same thing, the one shot of the 30-06 black tip.
Okay. Is this to drive more standardization within the industry and clearer standards within those different levels? This is kind of the purpose of the 07 versus the 06.
I think it's to define, I think the two things is, one was to define the RF1, RF2, RF3, but to get a 3+
Right.
in there. But then the other thing is in the HG2, the HG2 is where they've changed a lot of, not a lot, they redefined it a little bit. HG2, they redefined. They made it tougher.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's going to be interesting. And that's what's cool about what we do is that when you look at HG2, now instead of straight on 44 Magnum, 6 shots, you will have that, which is the old standard of the 3A, right? But to add to it for HG2, there's now 45 degree 9mm shot.
Okay.
They've had a tough time, and I don't know a lot about it. I know enough to talk a little bit to say that NIJ has had some tough time in perform or figuring out exactly what that means and what the round is going to be. The size of the grain, the type of the bullet, the velocity or whatever. There's different fundamentals.
Just within the 9mm casing in the 9mm cartridge, you can get 5, 10, 15 different variants of of weight, velocity.
So my understanding on that was that they had to nail down what was that standard going to be. 45 degree shot of a particular 9mm round that has to stay in that panel. So it cannot deflect, it can't ricochet, it can't penetrate, of course.
Right.
And that's the 7th shot. 6 shots of the 44 Magnum straight on, but that 7th shot is what defines HG2 now. The 010107 HG2 has that 7th shot. And that's going to be the one that's going to be hard to defeat. Because there's, and again, I go back to say that if you've got any manufacturer out there and you see any, they're advertising that they've got HG2 certified armor, that is not true. That is a total fallacy. Nobody has passed HG2 with the NIJ yet.
So for these standards that you're talking about, and when you guys, I love the fact that it's locally made here in North Carolina, American-made product, locally made product. So when you create your plates, and you've got something that you want to submit to receive this certification, is there one lab that you send it to, or what does the NIJ do to get this done?
Yeah, so my understanding is there are multiple testing labs that are approved by NIJ to do the testing for that.
Cool.
And we'll be sending some stuff initially off here in a couple of weeks to do some initial testing on our end before we send it for certification.
Okay.
So we'll get some compliant testing.
Right.
There's a difference in compliant and certified.
Yep.
And so we want to do some compliant testing initially. We've already done some through one place, and then we're going to be doing more through another location as well to have some special threats and do that 7th shot test. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with us lately. It's been exciting the end of the year here because like Sean was saying, it is cool how all of the, what we did for some compliant stuff was we tried different materials and different thicknesses,
Just R&D,
different
throwing different
layers
stuff
and-
together and seeing
Yeah.
seeing what works the best. And
we can't give up too much information, but other things that we do for individual plates to say, hey, let's send these and see how they test. I mean, you might test, different layers or different combinations or other different things, and then see which one performs better.
Right.
And then which one's going to be better overall, better financially, the whole,
Then you start weighing in the business of the science of the business behind it,
Right.
the weight, the cost of manufacture,
Yeah.
wholesale versus retail, and is it worth it to do it this way or
right.
Yeah.
And where's it going to bring our cost point?
Right.
I mean, yeah, you could throw in twice as many layers as you need and know that there's not going to ever be an issue, but then you're out of a cost range.
Right.
And
So
you have a really heavy body armor that a
Right.
consumer doesn't want.
that's right.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to find. You're trying to find all that sweet balance
There you go.
of
Yeah.
weight, stoppage, cost,
Yep.
And so we've got several designs that we had put together. We did some initial testing, found out what we feel like is our best design. Now we're going back with that one design to labs for special testing and specifically for this HG2
Very cool.
45-degree shot. We're going to do some FN 5728 testing as well,
Oh wow.
because that's the big one that defeats soft armor a lot of times.
Okay.
Is that it's a rifle cartridge in a handgun, right?
Yeah.
So it's fast and the speed, man.
Yeah.
Because velocity, ultimately velocity is what defeats armor.
Yep.
That's ultimately what it is, because a lot of people look at 3A or HG2 armor and say, wow, it defeats a 44 Magnum, even a hollow point. Well, soft armor eats that up.
Right.
Because it's slow, pretty much 1,400 feet per second.
It's got a lot of surface area
Yeah.
for the actual Kevlars and stuff to attach onto it and grab a hold of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you get
It's
those
cool.
real pointy FN 57s that are going fast, they love to go straight through that
Yeah.
armor. So
Yeah. So especially we've seen copper spun, solid copper spun really makes a difference too, as far as penetration. So yeah, it's interesting to see the testing, and then we'll be able to see it as well. We'll be able to see them as they test it. We'll be able to see it.
Okay.
So
Very cool.
It's really cool. So that's sort of what's been going on lately. We're excited to see what comes up in the next couple of weeks when we send some newer stuff off, like I said, and see where that goes.
yeah.
All right, guys. So that's pretty much what we have going on with our NIJ testing and our body armor testing. And we wanted to bring you guys in the loop because you're part of our family and you check us out and watch our content. So we're glad we're able to bring that to you. We always have a Q&A side when we end up here. And Sean, what you got for us on the Q&A side?
Yeah, so we got a little Q&A for the podcast today. We'll roll with this first one. I think this was on the video where Doc here, you were talking about backpacks.
Yeah.
And I think you touched on it a little bit, but maybe we can dive a little deeper. He said, I was surprised you didn't mention the gray man theory when choosing a color for the backpack. And so like you said, I think you talked a little bit about color, but like gray man theory, how does that relate to backpacks? And
Yeah, and it might have been in a different episode or a different filming that we had done, but I believe in one, it might not have been the backpack one specifically. I talked about the 51% rule, and that kind of leads into the gray man theory. The gray man theory is about blending in. Like nobody sees the gray man, right? It's just how you blend into your environment. And when you think about the 51% rule, and I think I talked about it in one of the ones where I mentioned situational awareness and stuff that was going on with the riots. Like if you've got to get through an Antifa riot to get from where you live to where you work, and the majority of the people there are wearing a black hoodie, get a black hoodie, right? So relative to the backpack, if you're in an urban environment, not near a military base at all, and the standard thing that the majority of the people have walking on the street carry is like a leather backpack, you're going to blend in with a leather backpack. Nobody's going to remember one guy walking down the street with a leather backpack, right? They're going to remember the guy walking down the street with a multicam tactical assault backpack when he's the only one that gets them. The gray man theory or the 51% rule is about how you blend in and backdrop into your environment. So that takes some situational awareness, that takes some kind of site assessment around your environment. Hey, what is everyone doing, right? And then if you live in an environment where in Alaska, the Patagonia, a day pack, a Patagonia or North Face day pack, right? You can load 100 tactical things in that, but the shell of what's carrying that blends in with what everyone else is carrying. So to the gray man theory, you have to do I can't tell you what the gray man theory is for you, right? Fair. You have to discover your own gray man theory based on, again, the why and the what, right? Where do you live? What is everyone else carrying? What is going to make you be able to adapt and kind of chameleon and blend into your environment? What's the gray man for Chicago is not going to be the gray man down in Fayetteville, right? A tactical assault backpack will blend in with the environment with everyone else around down in Vietnam, North Carolina, right? That's going to stand out. What blends there is going to stand out in Chicago, New York, and other places. So your gray man answer is you need to look in your environment and see what's going to allow you to adapt and blend in with your own environment.
And maybe there's something to be said about it's a good thing to have multiple colors and multiple different backpacks. Choose based off your situation in that moment.
I probably have 20 different backpacks, multiple different off-body concealed carry sling bags, fanny packs. Lamb, a Green Beret, when he was on Sean Ryan, he talks about kind of his gray man off-body carry. His EDC bag that he carries is a Louis Vuitton. Nobody is going to look at a guy carrying a Louis Vuitton bag and think that there's two guns, a knife, or whatever Lamb's carrying in there, right? So that's a great point and a good call out. If you carry a 511 pack, people are probably going to think that you've got a gun in there, right? If you carry, I have a nondescript leather sling bag that looks like something in the fashion district in New York. It would blend in very well there, and it's got a conceal pocket that I can tuck in my EDC pistol. Nobody's going to look at me in my everyday dress for work in a suit carrying that brown leather sling bag and think that guy's got an EDC pack there. So gray man's about blending into your environment. It has to do with how you dress for work, where you're traveling, in the environment that you're traveling in. And it's going to be different for just about any other scenario.
Yeah. And it's not just backpacks. It's the carrier. It's, your shoes. It's
in SWAT school, one of the gray man theories that we learned in the presidential detail, there's a guy standing always within proximity of the president who's got just a suitcase or a briefcase. In that briefcase is a defibrillator and a medical kit, but it looks like just an agent carrying a briefcase. Everyone probably thinks it's got the launch codes in it, right? No, it's got like a defibrillator and a medical kit in it because it blends in with everyone who's in his entourage and his detail. It doesn't, and that was president specific. I think that was like Reagan. Reagan always had a defibrillator within like feet of him, right? That's the gray man concept. It's blending in so it doesn't stand out. People remember what stands out. People don't remember what blends in. So that's the gray man concept.
Gotcha. I got you. So if the guys around you are wearing plaid, don't wear orange.
Yeah. We've been plaid on every episode.
We have. Well, let's go to our last question here. So this was on the micro map video from Agilite. He says, great vid. Could you theoretically attach the A map on top of the micro map so you can have a full-on backpack if you need it and keep the micro map and otherwise detach the A map and then have storage in both? And so I think theoretically, as I was looking at this and thinking about it, you could attach the A map on top of the micro map. Now, I don't think that's the smartest decision. I don't see why you would need that much do you have any thoughts on having 2 packs on?
Well,
one?
I think we got an email from that guy, didn't we?
I don't know.
That said that he did it.
Oh, really?
I think so. I think that's the way I interpreted. We got
Yeah.
like an email from him, and the interpretation of that email was that he accomplished it, which seemed like it was a big feat or something. But no, I don't think I don't think this is anything that I would even think about doing.
So
what do
you
you
can
think?
probably do it. So we figured that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, short answer, I think you guys have both hit it, is it can probably be done, but like you can clear a room. You could stack and breach a facility and clear it with an AT-4 rocket launcher, but why would you do that, right? So, yeah, again, I think I've been consistent as I've been joining this and talking about things. What's your why, right? Why do you need to do this? And then if you load out the AMAP and then the micromap, right? If you load both of those out with ammo, with whatever you need, one, can you access it? Are you going to be able to get to it? Or are you going to have to unarmor to get to it? And then 2, if you're saying you're going to do that with your team, you're not stacking very well because the guy's going to be like 2 feet behind you because you got like a camel hump behind you, right? And then 3, body mechanics. I talked about it in the backpack video. If you stack that out further, you're putting that micromap is going to be low and out, which is going to pull your back, right? Body mechanics, that's going to jack you up to where you're not going to perform well if you're doing any kind of assaulter work, right? I think it defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Right. So
It does.
I would ask, not to insult anybody, but
Right.
understand your why,
Yeah.
right? I've led in, I think, with all of them in that, because it's important in how you build your kit and how you outfit yourself is to understand what's the purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Well, and I like what we do here. That is what we try to do on our channel. Agilite and other companies make great gear that is specific for different operations and different things you're doing. We go back to the carriers, the backpacks. It's all specific to what you're going to do. The micromap and the AMAC map, in a lot of ways, are very similar. They both can carry helmets.
Yeah.
They both can carry hydration. They both can do a lot of the same things, but then you look specifically at, do you need more room?
Right.
Okay, AMAP. Do you need it to be portable? AMAP, if you want it to be on your back. Micromap. So anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I think get both of them and have a kit with each one on there. And then you have either one for either situation, but stacking them might not be the best thing, but if you want to do it, that's all you.
Yep.
But yeah, guys, that concludes our podcast here. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. We'd love to answer them in future videos. But guys, thank you so much for staying with us and tuning in with us. We can't wait to talk to you about SHOT Show. That'll probably be our next podcast, what we did at SHOT Show. So stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you later.